Hello, my Leo friends. This is Kristen Redman, Astrological Intuitive, and today we are going to go over the astrological influences that are impacting you for the upcoming year of 2022. And what a year it is going to be. I tell you what, there is so much happening in terms of your relationship sector, getting some, you know, patching up the cracks, fixing things, bringing stable people in, and a lot of energy that is shifting and changing in terms of career thanks to the eclipses that are happening as well. So let's get right into it. And let's just start right out with money, okay? Let's go right into money. So, what we've got happening this year is that Jupiter out there in the skies is quite an interesting planet. Man, it loves to bring us lucky breaks and opportunities out of nowhere. And it takes 12 years to make its revolution around the sun, where we take 365 days for our year. It takes 12 of our years to equal 1 year for Jupiter to go around the sun. So when it moves into a sign every 18 months to 2 years, it's a big deal, it's a big deal. And where that's happening and where it's trying to bring opportunity and luck is in the financial sector for you. Over here in the eighth house, which deals a lot with debts and shared resources. So when Jupiter starts to move through that eighth house, you might find that your partner starts to make more money, your spouse brings more money into the family pot. But also with that too, I'm looking at it for lucrative opportunities for partnerships for you, right? With other people. Maybe you align with some other business partners that really, where they're doing more of the work, but you're getting some of the benefits. That's the type of energy that Jupiter, the planet of luck and opportunity, brings us. Definitely expansion for your financial life. Expansion for your credit limits as well too. So just be a little careful with that, especially April 13th, when Neptune and Jupiter align, which is the first time that's happened in 12 years. So definitely it could be a really, really lucky day for you. But just be extra careful that you're not like taking on $100,000 mortgage more than you want to either. Like just put a little bit of thought into it. Because sometimes Neptune can, pull the wool over our eyes and we don't see things effectively. But as long as you're following your intuition and listening to your higher self and not reacting from an emotional space, I think you're going to be all good. So then we move on to, let's go to home next, okay? Home and family. That is where one of these eclipses are at. Why don't we just talk about eclipses? Let's just do that because it's going to go right to career. I just may as well. Okay, so in eclipses in the world of astrology, that's where new beginnings happen for us. So as astrologers, that's what we look for in a chart reading when we're doing it for somebody. We're like, hey, where are these eclipses happening for the person this year? Because obviously this is where some outdated stuff is leaving and some new energy is trying to come in its place. And they work in 10-year intervals, so it's not like it's the same sign every year. And it's been 10 years since we have dealt with the Taurus Scorpio eclipses. And when this happens for all of us, it says, okay, what do I value and what am I worthy of? That's Taurus. And what am I willing to surrender, release, and let go of in order for me to get what I deserve? Scorpio, release. Pretty cut and dry, right? Where this dichotomy is happening for you, Leo, is in the house of home, family, and security, and up here in the 10th house of career. Definitely some new energy trying to come through, blast out the old, bring in the new for both. Now, in terms of home, that's where we're focusing right now. The eclipse on May 16th is definitely going to bring some clarity about how home and family life work for you. Now, the South Node is going to be conjuncting this, and what that means is karmic energy of past life energy is tied in with this, and it's going to be aligned with this eclipse. And so it's going to be a little bit extra emotional, having to let go of the past, family dynamic, domestic situations, domestic things. So for some people, this could very well be divorce. It could be moving past divorce. It could be moving past like dreams and ideas that you had for your home life, and it's just not going to work out that way. Maybe you're having to move from a home. Maybe you have a child that's leaving home. There's a lot of different things that can fall into this. But I tell you what, the new beginnings come in its place. And that's going to be in October, at the October 25th eclipse, that also will be happening here as well. To really just regenerate what does have to be released. But I think a lot of it, what is being released more so, is outdated belief systems, right? I'm looking at it. The fourth house also represents childhood and family programming. And these eclipses could be having you purge some of those outdated belief systems that are passed down from one generation to the next, and where you're realizing that that has no place in your home or your family any longer, and you're willing to let those things go. So certainly energy that's going to be happening there. Now let's move it on to the other side over here, right, to career. And so with career, those eclipses are going to be happening. I got all of them written down here. October 25th and the November 8th ones definitely are going to be huge. We've got a lot of things that are happening in there at once. Yeah, okay, so I'll keep with the eclipse part. So obviously we're trying to clear out some old stagnated stuff, right? This is definitely a time frame for taking on a new career, taking on that energy to start moving forward into something that's more fitting for you. And there's a push anyway, because we have Uranus, the planet of our authentic true self, right? And freedom and liberation, that's moving through the sign of Taurus, where it hasn't been for 80 years. And it started that tour in 2018, and it finishes it up once and for all in 2025. And where that's been impacting you the most is pushing you to greater levels of authenticity and something that's more fitting for who you are now in your career and your life purpose. Okay, not just what you do to make your money every day. This is like, why in the world I'm here. And it's almost like the universe is ripping all of the things off that are keeping you from being in that. So that energy is already there. And then we have these eclipses that are happening in it this year. You got a preview of that at the end of last year in November. Like, what is possible for me here? What can I achieve? This is a year where some of those obstacles can get blasted out of your way to make sure that that actually happens for you as well. July 5th to August 20th, there's definitely a major push for change, to go for what you want, because Mars is going to be going through the career sector of your house where it hasn't been for 2 years. So maybe some things that you started in 2020, ideas, obviously, because clearly we were all very limited in that time frame in the summer of 2020, but maybe it was even some ideas that you had started maybe for like a business or a side hustle, or maybe like, you know, oh, I'm being so underappreciated at my job and I'm ready to move, I'm ready to ask for a raise, whatever. So Mars is coming back again, and that's the planet of our confidence and our motivation and our determination and the warrior within us, and it's coming through again in that time frame of July 5th to August 20th to really get what it is you want. Not only push for what it is you want, but to have the stick with itness to make it happen as well. A lot involved in that time frame. I didn't even talk about love. OMG, let's go to that next. So let's go to relationship, all right? We've already got love. We got money and career and family and all that. But let's move on to love. And this is a really big situation that started last year. We have Saturn, the planet of lessons and karma and hard work and all of these things. It takes 30 years to make its revolution around the sun. And so at the end of 2020, it landed into your house of marriage, partnerships, relationships, business relationships, but most of all is romantic relationships. And so when we have Saturn coming through and making its tour there, it is maturing you in ways that it hasn't, right? It's 30 years of hard work that you've put into what romantic relationship means to you and the foundations of what it is. And as Saturn goes through Uranus, it kind of morphs that and it changes that, because you're finding that maybe some of those foundations don't work for the best for you, right? Or it could be the other way. In astrology, it goes one way or the other. Maybe you had boundaries up too high and nobody could get in and you couldn't have a true, authentic, intimate connection that you wanted. But everybody's different. But no matter what, growing you, maturing you, helping you to reach new levels of commitment in partnership that you haven't received. So if you're looking for somebody, this is the partner that you've been waiting for. If you're with somebody and there hasn't been that commitment, this is the year where it can happen. If you're in a pre-existing situation, the cracks that are in the foundation finally get the flex seal they need to seal them up once and for all too, right? It's not just a patch. It's like these are the things that really help because you're coming up with a new understanding and new boundaries, new rules if you have to make it happen. But it's also rules within yourself on what you're willing to take and what you're not willing to tolerate anymore. And so that makes the relationships more solid as a result, doesn't it? This happening in Aquarius brings clarity. And starting last year when this transit started, I think you were starting to get clear on what relationship meant to you and what it means moving forward. Definitely gives us tests, doesn't it? That's what your good old Saturn likes to do, is gives us lots of tests in these areas. And so I can see where that would be the thing for last year. And that could even carry into this year too, right? How willing are you to stand up for these new boundaries that you're putting in place? But I tell you what, these tests help us to make mature decisions, right? That help stabilize the relationships with ourselves and with others. And it all comes down to setting long-term goals moving forward, because this is what sets the foundation for the next 30 years. You've already put 30 years of work in. Now we're reinventing and changing that for the next 30 years. So that's pretty legit. And then so we have March 5th, Mars reappears also in this section where it hasn't been for 2 years, and it gives you the confidence to make the tough choices that you need to in relationships. So maybe you have to stand up. Maybe you're looking for somebody and this is the push you need to be like, I'm going to get myself out there and I'm going to do it. There's a lot of things I think that you're going to be finding, that all of the barnacles of confusion that happened in January are finally going to clear out in this area, that you're ready to get moving. So that, my Leo friends, is pretty much all the astrological transits. Now what we're going to do is we're going to focus a little bit more on windows of opportunity for you to make some changes, right? We kind of talked about them there, but for all of us, right, in astrology, you look to your sun sign for the new moon and the full moon that happens in that sign for you to, one, plant your seeds of intention for what you do want in this life. You do that at the new moon in Leo, which happens, where are you? July 28th. So that's going to be the time where you really want to, I mean, you can do it at any new moon of every month. I mean, really, that's going to be contingent on your birth chart, what kind of seeds you want to plant. But this is seeds for you and what you want to see change, right? And then what happens with those is a lot of times I find time and time again after doing this for so many years that the seeds that you plant will come at that 6-month marker where the full moon for Leo happens, which I don't have for 2023, unfortunately. But so the new moon in Leo, it would have been, I feel like it was around the time of my birthday. So like August 16th, I think it was, in 2021. P.S. I'm a Leo. So the 6-month marker for the seeds that you planted then, you'll start to see some change and shift happen at the full moon, which is February 1st. I think that'll be a great thing for you to look back and go, what was I thinking of August 16th of 2021? How was that coming to fruition at February 1st? But even if, right, that February 1st full moon that happens, that's when you're going to be releasing the things, surrendering the things that don't work for you anymore. That's when emotions are at their height, and where we can't hide anything from ourselves or from others, or they can't hide it from us either, is going to be in that time frame for you, and make it very obvious what needs to be released in order for these new beginnings to happen. So keep that in mind for your moons this year. But let's look at birthdays. This is overall just in general for Leo. In general, these ones are. If you want to dig in a little bit deeper about what your specific birth chart has for this year with all the things I said, there's a link below. Click on it. You can do a reading with me. We can do it by phone, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever. We can make it work, and get you the answers that you're looking for. But in general, If your birthday falls between July 22nd and July 31st, Jupiter is going to be making a really positive connection to your sign this year. Jupiter is that one that's really pushing you to make some major changes, stretch yourself, go beyond the comfort zone. Um, and as you do that, long awaited opportunities are going to be there for you to grab onto. Also, another thing too with that is that you may be traveling more, exploring more. You may go back to school, you might find, take on additional courses, but it definitely improves your career significantly. We also have, hold on a second here, got my cat trying to push her way into here. August 2nd to the 10th, Uranus out there is going to be squaring your sun. And we talked a lot about how Uranus kind of brings some of those unexpected events in. And it's been doing that, trying to bring the authentic you out in its 80-year cycle in the career house. It's really going to be especially true for you if your birthday falls between August 2nd through the 10th, pushing you out of that comfort zone and really to greater levels of authenticity and freedom in your life overall, but especially for career for you. Now, if your birthday falls between August 3rd and August 17th, there she is. There she is. Miss Cleopatra Josephine showing up. Okay, now, if your birthday falls between August 3rd and August 17th, Saturn is going to be opposing your sun. Now, Saturn is that planet of setting those boundaries and the rules and everything we talked about with relationship. This is a year where relationship is going to be in the focus greater than it has been. Okay, over the past 30 years, you've been putting in the work and now it's ready to get some good solid footing under it. So this is where that cycle of tests in relationship finally leads to the growth and the maturity and the security and the stability that you want in a relationship. Defining what you want, letting go of the things that you don't and that aren't yours to carry, especially the burdens that are not yours to carry in relationship. I think this is where, Leo can get in trouble because there's such a big heart that's in there and you want to do so much for others, but in turn you take on their responsibilities, their pain, their suffering, their burdens to make life easier, but then as a result, then you're twice as exhausted because you're dealing with your own stuff and theirs. Then it gets taken advantage of, and then you know how that all goes. So definitely a year for that. So now what I would love to do is I'm going to pull a card. I'm calling on Archangel Raziel, who is the angel of Leo. Archangel Raziel is amazing. He encompasses all the colors of the rainbow. So anytime you see a rainbow, there's the energy of Raziel behind it. He helps us to shine in our brilliance. He helps us just to be like the rainbow that we are, to shine in every spectrum of ourselves and to not hide it, to shine it for the world. He helps us find our confidence. He helps us to find our dreams. So both subconscious sleep dreams at night and then our daydreams and dreaming bigger and seeing the bigger picture of our life. He helps us to do that as well. So I'm calling on him to help us know what kind of like our guidepost card of the year is. One more. Oh, it doesn't even want to go together. Well, clearly that's the card. Not for you. Isn't that interesting? I think this is a year where we're definitely realizing what is and is not in our highest and best, right? I think that's what the whole dichotomy of this eclipse cycle is all about anyway, right? Is what we deserve and what we need to let go of as a result. So I think it's just definitely been one of those years where you're going to have to find that Leo courage of yourself and draw the line and say, this doesn't work for me in a lot of different ways. And that's okay, right? That's absolutely okay, because when we let go of what isn't right for us, whether it's outdated beliefs, people, jobs, you name it, a car, I don't even care, right? When it's not meant for you, it's keeping your energy stuck at a certain level and you can't surpass it. The more that you find the grace to let go of what you have to, the more that you can move up as a result. So clearly, Archangel Raziel wants us to be very much aware of that, and that wonderful things can come as a result. So, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed and prosperous 2022.